Welcome back. Hello everybody. It's Monday and that means a new video for you guys. It's been requested of me to talk about my bipolar disorder and how I deal with it in everyday life. Today I thought I would talk about my hair's bugging me. Today I thought I would talk about medication in the workplace. I work 2 separate jobs. Right now I'm on summer break because I work for the schools, and then in the evenings I work at a local pub, and so that means I take medicine in the morning and medicine at night. And when I go to work, I've either already taken my medicine in the morning or I've got to take it when I go in. And my night job, I definitely have to take my medicine with me because I take it much later than when I go into work. So essentially, in my personal opinion, and I've done some research, but I can't find really any correct answer. It depends on the business, and I would also say it depends on what the business provides for mental health. But also, always check with your employer, the employee handbook, anything that you can get your hands on that gives you any sort of information, because many workplaces nowadays have things in place for their employees that have, say, depression, panic attacks, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, any kind of mental illness. There are things that are put in place now in many workplaces that I'm aware of that allow some time off if you have to be in the hospital, or they kind of work around what's going on. In my personal, not just opinion, but in my personal life, I have gone to both jobs and have stated that I'm on medicine. This is the kind of medicine I'm taking. Here's a list of numbers to contact, like where I get my medicine, who my psychiatrist is, who they can contact in case of an emergency, such as my mother or my husband or whoever. They can get a hold of first, and they know what hospital that I can go to if I need, that level of care. Essentially for me, because I have panic attacks that come from like nowheresville, like they just happen. There's like no trigger sometimes, and so my job with the school, to be a responsible adult working with kids, it was to me a major responsibility on my part to let the main coordinator and my boss know that, hey, I have bipolar disorder, I'm on this set of medication, here's a list of emergency contacts, and if I have a panic attack, here's step by step what we can do to either alleviate the panic attack very quickly or to remove me from the situation and put someone else in my position to kind of fill in very quickly until I can get myself to calm down. I work in the kitchen. I'm a cafeteria lady, so yeah, I'm that lunch lady. So I don't really have hand-to-hand, like classroom interaction with kids, but I still have enough interaction that it is my responsibility as a responsible adult to let my boss know that, hey, if all of a sudden everything gets loud and too bright and too much for me and I start having a panic attack for no reason, then there are things put in place so that she or any of my coworkers can kind of step in and be like, okay, go sit down somewhere, go take a breath. There's that put in place. And then my second job, because I work at night, my night meds aren't taken until later in the evenings because I take Seroquel, and Seroquel will knock you out. It will make you very tired, very drowsy. You can still function, but your brain's pretty much like asleep. So when I go to work at night, I take this. Okay, pops open like this. It was a Vera Bradley mint packet, and I use it to take my meds. Has no label on it, Nothing. It does not tell you what medicine is in here. It doesn't tell you if it's prescribed or not. Because I am not hiking this around with me everywhere I go. So I take a little pillowcase such as this. So for my second job, I decided that, again, my responsibility was that as a responsible driver, not just an adult, but as a driver, this is the medication I take, this is at what time I need to take it, and if I take it any later than that, these are the consequences that I will face the next day, if not that evening. Also, I work as a cook there. I'm not out waitressing or at the bar attending, so I can kind of step back and just be busy with cooking the food instead of being out front where it's really loud and busy and crazy, because I know that is a high potential trigger for a panic attack, and I know that for absolute certainty. So in my situation, I have told both employers about my bipolar disorder and that I take medicine, and that there's a small to medium potential for panic attacks. They come out of nowhere, and I don't know why. Sometimes I get them. They just happen. I lose it, and I start crying and hyperventilating, and it takes quite a while for me to calm down if I'm not around, like, my house, where I feel safe. If I'm at the store, I will walk right back out, right into the car, lock the car, and just sit in the car and let the panic attack just slide on through, just go with it, instead of trying to, like, stop it. Just let my body go through it, because there was something that triggered it, and it just has to deal with it. So essentially, do your research. Talk to your employer. Look for an employee handbook that talks about medicine or mental health in the workplace. Talk to a coworker. Maybe a coworker is going through something similar. If you're really close to some of your coworkers, you can let them know, hey, this is what's going on. I kind of need some help. How do you think I would approach my employer? How would I go about doing that? Also, because I live in the States, I don't know much about anywhere else. So please do your research. When you're doing some research on journals, make sure you're looking at, say, American Psychology Association, which is apa.gov or .org. I'm not for sure. I think it's .org. Look for governmental websites, scholarly websites. That way you're getting journals and journal topics where they've talked to employers and they've done different studies. Because if you just go onto Google and you click on the first article, it's more than likely it's somebody else's blog post or somebody else's opinion about what you should and should not do, and that may not be right for you, and that may be right for them. You just have to take it into your hands and say, hey, how am I going to best put myself in a position? Because having a mental illness and having just one job is a job in itself, because you have to take care of yourself mentally and be mentally prepared for whatever that job throws at you, because every day is a different day and you're not going to get the same exact thing every single day. So you have to take it into your own hands, and I mean that. So if you don't tell your employer and you're taking pills out of a pill bottle and they think that you're taking something that's illegal, I mean, there's nothing in here. Nothing. So there's no paperwork, there's nothing. So at least let your employers know that you take medicine. That way they're like, okay, they're just taking their medicine and they're not just popping some random pill. So please do your research, talk to your employers, talk to some coworkers. I can guarantee you're going to have 2 or 3 coworkers. I think 1 in 3 people have depression or have had depression or have gone through something very, very similar, like cyclothymia, which is like a low-grade depression. I think, or is that, I don't, Don't quote me on that. Do not quote me on that, because I don't think that's the correct term. Cyclothymia is, I think, smaller, bouncing up and down. Basically, just make sure you talk to an employer or a coworker and just get their feedback. It depends on what company you work for. If it's a 9-to-5 office job, you may never have to tell your employer that you have a mental illness and you take medicine and, hey, I might need this day off for a doctor's appointment. That can always be arranged. There are millions of people out there that just have random doctor's appointments that they can get off with. But you always have to take responsibility for your own mental health, because if not, you can put yourself in a lot of stress. You can put your employer in a lot of bad positions, because if something happens to you while you're on the job, say a panic attack, and you pass out and they don't know what to do, and so they call the emergency squad. They don't know what medicine you're taking. They don't know that you're seeing a psychiatrist. They don't know that you have a psychologist. They don't know they don't know anything. So in my personal opinion and in my personal situation, I've told two coworkers and both of my employers. That way, I am taking full responsibility for my mental illness, and that I am doing the steps that I need to do to take care of myself. And yeah, that's pretty much it for that topic. I just came to mind because I carry this around, and last night at work somebody was like, what is in that thing? And so I popped it open and I showed them my medicine. And I also take my wedding ring off because I don't want to get it dirty, because I forget to take it off sometimes before I go to work. And when they saw what was in here, they were like, what is that? And then I was like, oh, that does kind of look bad if they don't really know what's in there, because then they think you're just popping illegal drugs. So, like I said, do your research, talk to some people, read some academic journals. Don't just go off of somebody else's blog post, or they work like in some 9-to-5 job and they never really see their boss anyway. So, please take your mental illness seriously. Take your medicine. Do what you need to do in the workplace to give yourself the best opportunity at your job and maintaining a stable health, because with me right now I'm pretty stable. So yeah, any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, shameless promotion, subscribe for more videos, and I will see you all next Monday. Bye!